All right, welcome to the Amazon AMA. Oh, I have the wrong screen on. I'll change the screen. Welcome to. I can't even get it together today. This is ridiculous. Anyway, welcome to the Amazon AMA. There we go. That's what it is because we're going to talk about all things Amazon. And my name is Michael Marr. I'm one host, and the second host is Brett Bohannon. Welcome, Brett.
Hello.
I almost didn't want to turn off that new intro because, well, one intro before is now gone. I don't know where it went, but this new one was pretty vibey, I gotta say.
Very vibey.
It was
I
good.
like it.
So let's talk Amazon. And I don't know, do you want to talk about tariffs, or you feel like that's boring, let's not talk about it?
I mean, it's the hot topic, but it's boring.
Let's go back to the old topic of generative AI. that was popular and might just be dying out simply because of tariffs. I think if we want to, I feel like it would be maybe remiss to not say anything. Here's my. Actually, let me hear your take, and then like 60 seconds, I'll give you my 60-second take.
My take is no one should get their panties in a bunch right off the bat. Kind of just have to see what happens and where it falls. I posted in a group that I'm in. It was actually a reply to prophecy, Chad Rubin's
Prophecy, yeah,
about it. And I was like, this reminds me of when COVID happened and everyone was freaking out about e-com. And so I think the same thing is happening. Granted, you kind of have to kind of be like, okay, well, if you're in that, if you are directly affected, then you do have to kind of be like, okay, what do I need to do? But at the same time, I don't think anyone needs to freak out. I mean, look what just happened. It's a bargaining agreement, and he just put a 90-day pause on all the other tariffs other than China. So he's just it's just a. I think this is what I'm going to say. I think these kind of tactics and bargaining and the art of the deal kind of style happens every day in some of the largest companies, and we just don't see them.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing it firsthand. And I think people don't know how to react a lot of the times when these things kind of occur, because we never get visibility into these things. And so I think that's what's occurring. That's my personal opinion.
I love that take, talking about big companies, because I've seen big companies go back and forth, negotiated deals with Amazon, with big companies. And there's a lot of back and forth. Well, we want this. Well, we want this. And no money even got exchanged in hands. It was all determining, like nothing changed actually financially. It was once we actually settled on stuff. Now, there was less publicity on it. No one was going in front of a camera and saying, well, we offer this, and this other person's saying this. So I think you're certainly right. It's a little bit different approach than how do we maybe appease people right off the bat, like kind of playing a little bit hardball, like you said. I don't know if the art of the deal really would be considered something like that, but I feel like nobody knows. First of all, nobody knows. Nobody has a crystal ball. No one can determine what's actually going to happen. It feels like posturing, and we're going to have to figure something out soon, because nobody, even if we wanted to be manufacturing back here, all of it, that would take time. It would not happen in 30, 60, 90 days and beyond. For anyone who is in a space or product space that does not just require manufacturing, but like refining of goods, take lithium. We could get raw lithium right now from Africa or other places where there's lithium. I don't know where all the lithium is, but we could set up manufacturing. Maybe it takes us a year or so, but like we could do that very quickly.
Yeah.
We cannot and do not have the technology to refine lithium to be used in products. That's something China has a lock on, and we're probably a decade behind. And that's not coming from me. That's coming from people I've heard who are experts in the space, who have dealt with China for a long time. So it feels like, hey, like here's what we're going to do. All right, well, we're going to do this back. Bargaining basically, and we'll see what happens. So I agree. I thought the same thing today about COVID. Oh, let's turn off all our ad spend. It's like, no, don't do that. Everyone's going to do that. Just give it a second. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think it's like I said, it's people don't this is people don't usually have visibility into these kinds of things. So when they're seeing it, they don't know how to react or what to do. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm going to buy some ETFs um, and invest some money in the down market for sure.
Oh, 100%. That is exactly what I'm going to be doing. In fact, I'll be meeting with my financial planner next week to talk about it. Because anytime I see downs, I'm so confident in certain things like e-commerce is not going anywhere. It's like people who, there was a man, who is this guy? I think it was 98 or maybe it's 2005, but it was like earlier on into the usage of the internet. It was some famous economist who said, I think everyone will see that the internet will have no more change in commerce than the fax machine had on it. And like that guy just looks like a total idiot now because he was making a really presumptive statement and nobody really knows what's going to happen. So yeah, like let's see where the dust settles a little bit. Certainly it can be scary. I'm not saying it's not scary to think my costs are going to go up 50, 100%, but I just don't think it's going to happen, especially if you've already got goods here in the States. Those goods don't automatically go up in cost. So when your next order comes, like you have to be thinking about that. But yeah, like let's take the appropriate action. That was way more. Both of us had more than 60 seconds, but we still got it done.
Yeah, still got it done.
Well, we're back from Prosper. You and I got to speak with our buddy Josh Justice and absolutely crushed it. I heard it was the #1 rated talk in all of Prosperland.
That's what I heard too. So I'm glad we got the same information there.
Yeah, we got a 2 out of 2. two people gave feedback and 2 of them said this was good. I had a good time.
And I'm pretty sure that was me and you.
It was actually me and you. You and I took a poll and filled out the questions before. How do you feel like it went? I mean, you talked all about catalog specific stuff. It seemed like people were engaged with that.
Yeah, I think it was good. It's hard for me to talk about such a technical subject without going too far into the weeds.
Yeah.
So that's always difficult for me, no matter what.
Because there's so much there.
There's so much there. And a couple of people asked some great questions that allowed me to go a little bit deeper into the weeds. But some of those things aren't necessarily like, oh yeah, in every situation, it's how to solve it is X, Y, Z. You can use X, Y, but Z might be a little bit different in different situations. So it's hard to be like, hey, yeah, this is what you have to do, but here's a couple of different options to try to solve it. In my instance, when it comes to catalog issues and whatnot.
Yeah. Catalog is very challenging for a couple of reasons. One is Amazon will make changes without you knowing. There are people say Amazon changes every day or every week, or every month even, or all the time. That's not true. Amazon, and what they're saying is, like the search algorithm or advertising, whatever. There are certainly changes that happen, but because the basics are still true. Get your real estate in order. Get good PDP, PDPs that are conversion ready. Get traffic to the page, optimize. And then, of course, there's technical stuff as well. But if there is anything that does change on a regular basis, maybe even weekly or monthly, it's certainly catalog stuff. Because Amazon makes updates without even always telling you. New browse nodes. You see your product move from industrial and scientific into patio, lawn, and garden. because there's crossover there. That is something that really does change, and you really have to. You talked about this in your talk, but you have to stay on top of it, because if not, 90 days go down the road and you're like, oh, we have this problem, we didn't do anything about it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and in the talk, I basically was like, hey, who in here has had their category change and not know about it? And I would say 50% of the people. I mean, I could roughly counted there was like 70 people in there, probably a little more, a little less.
But, oh wow, okay.
Yeah, because there was like 30. I think there was 30 and some change on one side, and then it was about the same on the other side. So it was about 70 people, and I think about half of them raised their hand. It could be a little more, a little less, I don't know. But that when I basically was like, has anyone had their category change? And a lot of people have had their category change without knowing. So I think that's a big thing, is how without like systems in place or whatnot, you really don't know if that happens or not. And you're kind of blind. So
what's a system you could put in place to know if that stuff is happening or
not? The easiest right now is having Keepa on your listings and checking. But what occurs there is that if you have a large catalog, that's going to be pretty hefty.
Tons of notifications.
Well, they don't even send notifications. You can just see the change on the graph that is on the PDP.
Are they still doing buy box changes on there? They used to.
Yeah, they show it on their graph. Yeah.
I can't remember. It's been a while since we used Keepa, but it's super inexpensive, super valuable tool. I mean, there's so many tools out there.
It used to be free.
It used to be free.
It used to be free pre-2018, and then they started charging for it.
Yeah, 2018. That reminds me of Merchant Words. Remember Merchant Words?
Yeah, used to use them a bunch.
Yeah, and then it felt like there was just a lot of terms that maybe weren't as relevant. It was like when people are saying, let's find long tail keywords. And it's like, okay, yeah, how much of search volume is there though? Like, this is a great keyword, super applicable. How much search volume is there? And that's one of the things I always struggle with, is a lot of softwares used to say, oh, this keyword volume is 300,000. But now if they're doing what they should be doing, they're tapping into search query performance, search catalog performance, and they're actually looking at the number of searches that Amazon is showing.
Yeah, and like this topic pops up probably once or twice a year. And it's really, you got to take it for a grain of salt. Like Jungle Scouts showing this number and Helium 10 showing this number. I remember back in the day when you used to be able to buy reviews and whatnot, that number used to skyrocket right off the bat because you get all this buys, and then these tools would be like, oh, based on this 15-day or 30-day data, this is how much they're selling, when realistically it's not. So I mean, that's where like seasoned people like you and I and other individuals can be like, okay, it's around that. It's not exactly that. But there is that SQP data. And then there is, unless they're pulling from the API, those tools are always going to be not 100%. Now, some of these advocates for those tools will probably say otherwise, but there's so many changes happening, especially for scraping and whatnot, that affects a lot of those tools, keyword volumes and whatnot. SQP data is probably the North Star and should continue to be the North Star.
Well, and I've heard people at Zon Guru say, that's what they use. What I'm unclear of is, are the tools reporting on monthly numbers, or are they reporting on weekly numbers?
Well, if anyone says that that's what they used in the past, that's not correct.
That's what they use now. That's what they use now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was no way before it was a thing, but that's neither here nor there. So, moral of the story: don't use Merchant Words, or do. Yeah. I don't care. I don't even know if it's around.
I think they're around still, but
I'm gonna go look it up. That guy who started is an OG for sure. And Keepa, yep, your data on demand. They still, looking at it right now, they do all kinds of stuff, classic search, etc.
Oh, it's a great tool.
It is a great tool. I was only kidding about don't use it. Use it, don't use it. I don't care. We don't get paid by them, so You can do
No, but they
whatever.
can't. They can pay us if they want to.
This is, I meant to say, this is now brought to you by my blue hooded sweatshirt that I wear in the wintertime when it's cold. Thank you, Old Navy. I'm pretty sure that's where it's from. No, not a lot of designer labels over here in the Mar household. Probably the closest we get to designer is Viore.
Yeah, there you go.
Which I've been told by people in Gen Z that that's for old people.
Oh, VR is now old people?
Is for old people. Lululemon is where it's at.
Really?
Yep. And then someone proceeded to say how they don't like to buy, same person, they don't like to buy from Shein because they don't treat their workers well, but they love Nike. And I just said, you're aware of like all the problems Nike's had with child labor and stuff. Like, oh yeah, but I just like their stuff better. I was like, okay, well, moral relativism. Have at it.
That's awesome.
So I think Prosper, I was there for 18 hours, so I was there very quickly, but I felt like the talk went well. I felt like people were engaged. And I think what some of the feedback that we heard is there's either really basic stuff that probably not a lot of basic people going to Prosper. I could be wrong. Like new first-time sellers, it's people who know enough to go to this show, know that there is a trade show. So they're at least above beginner. And then there's like really advanced talks. So I'm saying it's not, I don't know how applicable it is, but then really advanced stuff that's way over people's head. So it feels like people want more practical things that they can actually implement.
Yeah. Yeah. And I sat on one talk mostly just to kind of get the vibe of talking. And I was kind of underwhelmed. It was just like, hey, this is what we can do, and these are the new things. And I was just like, oh, okay, cool.
This is a talk that you went to?
Yeah. The first day, but like I think that's where talks in general, it could be hard. It's like, how deep do you go? But I think we went pretty practical and gave some great information for people to take and use. So
yeah,
I think that's important.
How deep is your love? How deep is This is now brought to you by the Bee Gees.
Oh, is that the Bee Gees song?
Yeah, it's a Bee Gees song. How deep is your love? It's a good song. Good songwriters. Yeah. What else are you seeing right now happen on the Amazon front? Or the Amazon back? You probably are more the Amazon back. If I know anything about price.
I don't know. Nothing crazy. I mean, yeah, I don't nothing off the top of my head that
AMC custom audiences
stuck out. I mean, that's more of your realm.
Is it?
But
yeah, maybe. I like the idea of a custom audience. I've seen other people talk about them. I've seen Destiny with Sean post about using them with her clients. And I think there's a lot of great use case scenarios, even just creating an audience based on whatever data you have in a time where, if we're going to talk about tariffs, you have to talk about profitability. And people, I believe, are focusing more on profitability, not just outright sales. But you can utilize an audience to help you get a better return. It may impact your market share. It kind of depends upon what you're running. If you're a brand that's got a custom audience that's 5,000 people and you're wanting to rank on a keyword, but then you say, all right, who added to cart but didn't purchase? You could probably improve your ROAS, but is it really going to help your market share? So I feel like it all comes down to the use case. Like, what is your use case for using it? But I think anyone could probably benefit from AMC. What would be really cool, though, and what I've seen a little bit of, is utilizing that organic data that Amazon can give you and then saying, all right, go after someone who searched this keyword but didn't see an ad.
Yeah.
Okay, like that to me feels very specific, very intentional, and also very powerful. A lot of varies.
Lots of varies. Yeah, I think more data that we can get from Amazon, the better. and then we can use it. I like it because Amazon's becoming more and more of like a normal like media, kind of company and buyer and whatnot.
They're like a traditional retailer now
Yeah,
with a very strong retail media network.
yeah. So it's evolved and it will continue to do so, and it's good for those ads only providers because they've got a little leg up, and people that specialize in that. So it's good.
Walmart has a pretty strong retail media network in terms of the size, I would say, of the prize. But like Home Depot, I'm pretty sure has launched a retail media network.
Yeah, Best Buy launched a marketplace too.
Okay. I mean, Macy's launched one a couple years ago. I don't know that they have media. Target is very exclusive still. But I think the main point when I think about these marketplaces is what is the lift that I'm going to get? Now, you have an early adopter access, like advantage. So you get on Walmart now, as they grow, as they invest, you could be one of the leaders in 5-10 years. Is that worth it for you? I think is the question. But certainly people that have been on Amazon a decade ago are benefiting from being on a decade ago, and people who were on there a decade ago but didn't evolve are dead. Not physically dead. I mean, there are probably some people that are physically dead, but I've had a tendency to say, like, someone on my team is no longer with us. Like, they got let go, whatever. And I just always feel like I need to clarify they are not dead. They are just dead to me.
That's funny.
Yeah, the language is important, I feel like. Yeah, so there's a lot of retail media networks. With one thing I've seen people say is a retail media network like Amazon is a tax. It's a tax on people.
Yeah.
And while that's technically true in that if you do want to succeed, you have to spend money on Amazon and advertising, that's true anywhere else. You want to get seen in Kroger, there's slotting fees, there's in-store marketing, there's activation stuff that you have to do with people, sampling. There's so much money that's called trade spend. If you want to grow, you have to invest trade spend. That is true of anybody else. We're just calling it a different name. So it's like saying, well, I went to this one store and they gave me a banana, and this other store gave me an apple. Like, man, what's up with giving me an apple? That's ridiculous. And you're like, well, they're both fruits. So why are we even talking about this? You want to share your screen?
I want to share the punctuation, and this reminded me of this.
Stop clubbing baby seals. That's good. It's important to distinguish between. Can you zoom in on that image? I'd like to maybe see a little bit larger.
Hold on. Oh, that's
Is
funny.
it the site?
It's a site, yeah. I don't know if it's going to show it. I remember this from years ago. It was like punctuation matters, and it's like stop clubbing baby seals.
Once again, punctuation makes all the difference. Yeah. It would be stop clubbing, period. Baby seals, period.
Yeah.
Or just stop clubbing baby seals in general.
Yeah.
Do you know the correct usage of a comma in a sentence when you have 3 or more adjectives or 3 or more subjects? I think it is. Anyway, just 3 things in a row. Where do the commas go?
Mm-hmm.
After the first 2 words, including before the and.
Okay.
You know why I know that?
No.
Because I looked it up. Because I was curious.
No
real good reason.
Well, stop clubbing baby seals.
Stop clubbing baby seals already. Here's what we discussed today. AMC custom audiences. Good to help improve return. Good to get more buyers that have greater affinity for you, and people but just be careful about what it could do to market share. Be thinking about profitability in that sense. Also, people are worried about tariffs. Hold your drawers a little bit. Let's just be patient. Catalog work is detailed, and it's going to take time to get into all the weeds, but it's worth it. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, that's it.
All right. Brett Bohannon, out.
Out.
Oh, Michael Maher, out. Which one's my name? I can't remember. All right, that's the AMA. We'll see you next time.
See ya.